Mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up, but he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there. He's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's doing the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Good show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you gonna bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it.
The SEC is God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. Today is Monday, October 28th.
Boo.
Not a great weekend here for Louisiana football, to say the least. Okay?
That's all we got.
The Saints are dead. Like, dead. Like, Saints are, let's just put the dirt on top of the coffin and let's try again next year.
I don't even deserve that.
Dennis Allen, he may not, if he loses to Carolina, he may not make it back. He may be left on the tarmac, similar to Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's obviously not really excited, happy with LSU right now because we keep getting the night games. He's crying about it. 2 for 2, huh? Well, look, you were in the first part of it, right? You saw what it looks like as a night game there. Your stadium doesn't even compare to that, so that is the reason why we get the night game.
Don't lose to Kentucky.
Play better. You don't like it, play better.
How many does Ole Miss Stadium hold?
Like 60,000 something?
Yeah, I'm not too.
I mean, 80 max, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's not close.
Not 102.
It's not close.
No, there's no comparison. Nobody comes back from them and like, damn,
Vaughn
Hemingway was awesome. They say the Grove is great. Ole Miss, Oxford's fun. Nobody's coming back and saying, man, Vaught Hemingway is wild.
Compound V.
It's not the way it works. Compound V.
64,038.
Yeah.
That's not
double.
When you're in a conference full of, I mean, what is there? 4 or 5 different $100,000. I mean, 100,000.
Probably more than that. No.
Yeah, you're probably not gonna get the night.
Yeah.
Let's just call it spade
Not
a
gonna
spade.
happen. And that's after LSU comes off of a.
Heartbreaker.
I don't even want to consider it a heartbreaker because a heartbreaker would be if
mind-boggling. Let's call it mind-boggling.
Yeah. Head scratching loss. right?
Scratch my head unless it itches.
Heartbreaking loss would be if something happened to
Had
us
it
that
dropped it.
had it dropped it. Like if something happened to us like we did to Ole Miss, which I felt like
Bears
was going to
heartbreaker.
happen,
Yeah.
right? Because we're up 17-7, you're dominating the game, but you look up and you're like, damn, we're only up 10 points. You miss a field goal. You know, this long snapper hits the holder in the face and you miss another field goal, and then you throw 3 interceptions. You're like, damn, we are just kind of giving them the game. And then we have 8 minutes left in the third quarter, and all of a sudden they bring in their backup quarterback who has been on the team, has started 3 starts, and we must have forgotten that happened because this guy is the easiest zone read decisions I've ever seen since playing high school football, right? And we were not prepared. He comes in there and throws the ball twice. Actually, drops back to throw twice. I don't know if he threw the ball twice.
2 for 2.
He did throw the ball. Okay, throw the ball twice. One was for 40 yards. I don't know what the other one was for. He dropped back to get on 3rd and 5 and on like the 10-yard line, ends up running it in for a touchdown. Had no answer for him. And the turnovers, him coming in and getting a short field and scoring touchdowns every other play, it felt like, and LSU turning the ball over and not getting anything going, you just felt it snowballed quickly. It went from playing 2.5 really good quarters to getting your ass kicked in a quarter and a half, and it made up a lot of difference in the score. LSU loses their first SEC game, second game of the year. Did not look great. There were some good things in the first half, a lot of bad things in the second half. We're going to get to all of that conversation. Jared's been doing a deep dive into film study through the course of the weekend and through today. Has a lot to talk to us about on why things went wrong defensively, where were the adjustments or lack thereof. But with all of that being said, LSU technically still controls their own destiny as it relates to the playoffs. If they go ahead and win out, they will be a top 12 team and be in the playoffs and potentially hosting a first-round game, depending on what happens around the country in these next 4 weeks. In years past, if LSU has 2 losses at this point in the season, hope is there's a very small hope that you're going to go out and you're going to run the table because you have to play the big bad Alabama Crimson Tide. But the beautiful thing about it this year is Alabama doesn't seem like they're the Alabama of old. Now, obviously, they're going to continue to get better. They're going to play LSU like they always do, but they're playing at LSU. But if LSU can go out and run the table, they will put themselves in a position to make it into the playoff with maybe avoiding the SEC championship game, which could also be a bugaboo, right? That A&M kind of puts themselves in danger of potentially being in that team that, hey, we're going to go ahead. Let's say they lose to Texas at the last game of the regular season, but then they still make it into the SEC championship and they lose that game, they're out. So as ugly as it was and as head-scratching as it was in the second half, there is some positivity as we move forward. We wanted a home playoff game here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We have one. It just so happens to be in November, right? This is a home playoff game. You win this game against Alabama, you set yourself up for a playoff. You lose this game from Alabama, back up the trucks. You ain't making it to the postseason. So you have no room.
If you take
for
another
error.
loss this year, I think it's pretty much.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, you pretty much.
Right, and I say Alabama because that's the one that like
Back to the
that's
Cheez-It
the next
Bowl.
one. You got to go and you got to win that one. You have to
Mikey
win that
Car
one.
Care Bowl.
Yeah,
Or home playoff game again.
or home playoff game
It's all right in
against
front of you.
Ohio State, Penn State, Clemson, Miami, whoever is that team that we're going to play. It's going to be a really good team. Come into Baton Rouge.
That ain't never been here before.
Ain't never been here before. They ain't ready, right?
so Happy Valley.
So you have the ability to control your destiny. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about what they need to do. If you follow along with us, because we are having some people that do tail us. They have some people that have been tailing us, and if you have not been tailing us throughout the course of the year, I feel bad for you, right? Look,
You can change your tax bracket.
Listen to me. The only thing that matters is when it matters most at the end of the game. If you come up and you get that base hit in the 8th inning and you're 0 for 2, 0 for 3 before that, but you get that base hit, your day's made. You get the homer specifically. You're like, damn, you go home, you feel pretty good about yourself. We went 4. We lost the first game, the first parlay of the year. We went 4 straight. Then we lost 1. Then we won 1. Then we lost 2 in a row. But the boys came back with a vengeance, and we won our parlay. And we didn't post the second one. I had a little bit of a typo on my end.
Whoops.
With Jared. And I thought Jared had announced that he said he was going to do another game. And so I actually had 2 3-leg parlays, and both of them actually hit. was a great day for the Mahtook household on the gambling side. Great weekend for the Mik'd Up crew and for all of you that tailed us. We appreciate you supporting us. We appreciate you locking in with us. 5 3-leg parlays that I've hit already this year with 5 weeks to go. That's pretty impressive. Like, not many people can say they do that. I'm very happy that we've been doing it. A lot of big brains collaborating together here before the show, talking about what games we like. And look, we're all in this thing together, and we've been winning together. So, shout out to us. Shout out to you.
Because you aren't book
Jarish.
smart, don't mean you can't be book smart.
Doesn't mean you can't be book smart. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So that was one positive thing that come out of this weekend. Major League Baseball, the World Series going on right now.
Speaking of gambling, Shohei Ohtani, he is going to be playing in Game 3, subluxation of the left shoulder, right shoulder? Left shoulder. He is good to go. He will be playing today. They're playing Game 3 in New York tonight. You have Clark Schmidt on the mound for the New York Yankees versus Walker Buehler, who pitched at Vanderbilt, pitching for the Dodgers. Dodgers are obviously up 2-0. Both games have been very competitive. Yankees felt like they probably should have won Game 1, which I do want to talk about because I feel like they did some things in that game that you're like, wait a minute, why would we do that? Why would we put Nestor Cortez in, who hasn't thrown a month, and you have another submarine lefty that's been throwing really well and has been your best reliever out the pen? In that moment, I don't know. Those are questions that Aaron Boone obviously has to answer for. Why do we take Garrett Cole out the game when he's got 88 pitches and the first sign of trouble, and you paid him $300 million to be that guy? Let's get through it. Derek Jeter came out, and actually A-Rod and Derek Jeter were talking about this on the show about how they don't agree with the fact that they took out Garrett Cole at that point in the game because you paid him to do that. He has been dominating. He didn't show any signs of going backwards, but you took him out. And then you put yourself in a position to kind of give up the walk-off grand slam,
which is kind of crazy, too, at Aaron Boone because he is such a
old
school baseball, like old soul type of guy. Even though he's a young manager, he's like an old soul type of guy. So it's kind of crazy to see him do it at that situation. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of former players that are they're not necessarily in the situation he is where I'm assuming he has a little bit more control of that lineup than a lot of guys do in that situation these days. So it's kind of crazy to see him do that because you wouldn't expect him to be doing that.
Garrett Cole, very punchable.
Yeah, play with him, Team USA. He's really good, though.
Yeah, sounds like a great guy.
He's really good.
Good for him.
I mean, he's a really good pitcher. Threw really well.
Help get that silver medal.
Very tough log, no decision for him after they took him out of the game. But look, Yankees are back at home. They have 3 games at home, so you would hope it's 2-3,
1-1,
2-3-2.
2-3-2.
Yeah.
That's what it is, 2-3-2. So they have 3 games at home. Hopefully the Yankees can kind of win and make it a game. I love for it to go Game 7. We shall see what happens there. But I know what everybody wants to talk about. I know the conversation has been, people have been, maybe they don't want to talk about it anymore. Maybe everybody's upset about, just frustrated about the weekend. Frustrated about how did we let this happen? How do we have 2 separate teams basically play in one game? Well, sometimes it happens. Football is a crazy sport. And one team made a move and the other team was not able to adjust to it. And that one move ended up being the difference in the game. Obviously, Garrett Nusmeier played his worst game of his career, right? He had a pretty solid first half. Still wasn't super efficient, right? Like didn't have a high completion percentage. Was 50%. Making some throws. He had a 76-yard pass, touchdown pass to Aaron Anderson.
That was fun.
And you felt like, damn, this is going well, but you could feel it slipping away. You really could. When the missed field goal. Then you threw it. Then he had a bad interception.
Just not taking advantage of certain situations that you had to kind of put the nail in the coffin a little bit.
And then when the team, and when a team is losing at home and the crowd's kind of out of it, you don't want to give them short fields, right? And so even with the backup quarterback who we couldn't stop, his first 2 or 3 possessions, it felt like he had let's say 2 or 3. His first possession, he had a short field. Then he goes all the way down. Then he has another short field. You can't give a team that's behind, that's ready to, I don't want to say give up, but you have your foot on their throat. Can't give them short fields and give them an opportunity to get the crowd back in the game. But it happens, and we're here to talk about it. We are your therapy. We'll talk it through, and we'll bring some positivity after we talk about the negativity. Okay?
Yeah, you gotta look in the mirror.
Jared, what did you see this weekend? Give me your take on what you felt, what you saw, and how you feel about us going forward.
It's really hard to watch how it happened because it was I won't say it was very apparent. It looked apparent as if that what was going on in the time when it was happening, but it felt like I'm not sure if we actually prepared for this guy. And then without even listening, Marcel Reed, right? They bring in the backup quarterback. The game completely flipped on his head at that point. So without even listening to any of the post-game pressers or anybody talking about it or anything like that, when you go back and watch the film, it is very apparent that they did not put in a defensive plan that said, if for some reason this guy comes in, like let's just say Wegman gets hurt in the first quarter and the kid's in and they have to put him in. It did not look like they put in a plan. And if you go back and watch the film of it, the film kind of supports it as well. They did not have a plan for Marcel Reed, and you feel bad for the players in that situation because to me, in my mind, that falls on two people. It falls on your defensive coordinator, it falls on your head coach, right? To not put a plan in just in case. And the reason why it's so important is because the game that Marcel Reed plays is so different from the game that Connor Wegman plays, right? So if you have a situation where maybe he comes in and plays and he has to play, you have to be prepared for it. Yeah. And it was very apparent that they were not. Now, I've also seen
3 starts this year.
3 starts. And he's got 6 touchdowns and no picks in those starts. So it's not like the kid's been complete shit when he's played. He's been competent, at least. Maybe not at the high end of how they wanted to see that offense operate, but he's been out there and he's given them a chance. And he doesn't have any losses on the record either. So that part was, to me, I look back at the other side too, and I see a lot of people talking about the game that Garrett Nusmeier played and how bad it was. It was not a good game by him. It was pretty bad by him. But when you only run the ball for, I think, less than 30 yards, 1, and then 2, combine that with only it being his, 8th start in his career, I'll go back and compare some numbers to somebody else later, but there was a lot of things that kind of all culminated together, and it literally came into just such an egg on your face, flat feeling right there. When you walked away from watching them lose USC, you didn't feel like, boy, it's going to be a long season. I don't know if they got a chance.
Right.
When you walked away and saw them lose this game, you're like, I don't know how you dropped this opportunity. I don't know how you allowed what transpired to transpire. But it did, and now you're in a situation where it is the season for LSU, the playoffs, or any opportunity to get into the playoffs. You are not. It started now. Yeah, your playoff has started at the beginning of November.
Yeah, 4 weeks.
Where you're at right now.
Yeah, four playoff games in a row.
To win a national championship for LSU, and this – you got to get the chance, too. You got to get invited in. But to win a national championship for LSU, you got to win 8 straight ball games.
Yeah.
That's where you're at.
8 straight.
8 straight ball games.
And you know what? That's okay. It would have been better if you had an opportunity to slip up with another one, but you've already done that. You've burned your 2 mulligans with the USC loss, which looks awful now, and this A&M loss, which obviously A&M is a good football team. And you talk about LSU is not prepared for Marcel Reed, and you could say, well, it's apparent because we watch what happens on the field. They obviously had no response for him, and you say, well, maybe the players just weren't ready. Well, no. Greg Penn actually said those words. We just kind of took us off guard.
Caught us by surprise.
Caught us by surprise, I think is the quotes that he said. And don't take it from us. Take it from him, who said it live in an interview on TV that was recorded and played back for everybody to hear. Almost. I thought I was gonna get it perfectly segue.
Well,
but
I had to delete it because of the stream.
Okay, we don't have to play it. We don't have to play it back. We don't have to play it. But he comes out in an interview and basically says, "Caught us off guard." I think if you go look at the prior games, Wegman was hurt. That's why he wasn't starting. And then Marcel Reed had some, the games weren't crisp offensively for Ole Miss. For A&M, for them to continue to win games and have offensive production. And then they take him out and put Wegman in, and then they look better, and then they beat Missouri 41-10. So you just think, okay, Wegman's the guy, whatever. Well, LSU dominated him so much in the first half, they said, well, maybe he's not the guy. And then this is a quote from Greg Penn.
Right now, but I mean, we didn't really prepare for it, honestly. I mean, we didn't think that he was going to come in there. So, I mean, him coming in the game kind of caught us off guard, I would say. I mean, we didn't really know what we're going through on the line and things like that. So, I mean, them doing that kind of just, I guess, opened the game up for them in terms of what they were doing on offense.
Why was that?
And make no mistake about it, too. I want to be clear when I say this. Beautiful, almost flawless initial game plan that Blake and the defensive staff cooked up. You just left the part out where the what if became the actual reality, and you never planned for it. It's pretty obvious. You would have to show me a lot. You would have to give me some real proof to make me understand that, yes, we did prepare for it. I just don't think that proof is out there. I would stand firm that they did not prepare for it.
You broke down. It wasn't like you had to go and find a lot of these clips. It was successive. These plays happened in succession.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, on these drives, right? It was literally one play, look at this play. Second play, look at this play. Third play, man, look at this play. Hey, I'm not scrolling. This is the same drive.
Yeah.
Right?
And this is after a drive where they already had scored. So it's coming back the second time, too.
This is consecutive plays that you are reading the same guy, and sometimes the guy that you're reading is even there.
Yeah.
So they didn't have it schemed up properly. They didn't have it defended well. They didn't make any adjustments. And how does that happen is the question.
That's one of the biggest coaching blunders I've seen. I'm sure he's kicking himself for it. I'm sure that staff understands it. If you ask me from what I saw on film, and this is just from really 3 of the first 4 drives when they scored in the second half, is those players were unprepared for the situation if that kind of quarterback or if that guy came into the game. Not that kind of quarterback, because you're only playing one team. You know who's on the roster. You know what they do. You know what the opportunity is. You never really prepared for that kid coming in, and it's very apparent by the way you were out assignment, out aligned in the first 3 to 4 drives, and as it kept going in the second half when that kid was playing.
How do they complement Nuss's ability as a passer, right? And as a competitive, like he's going to put you in a position to run the game. How do you do that? But how do you create the running game, right? They're obviously don't. 2 things I've noticed. One, they're not successful running the football, right, consistently, but then they give up running the football very early, right? They don't. It's almost like you have to be stubborn about trying to run the football. And here's my other issue that I was I was telling Jared about this off air. It's like when you're playing baseball and you don't like swinging at the first pitch, but you take that first pitch fastball and it's right there. It's 0-1.
Fuck.
And then you're like, damn, that was right there. I probably should have swung at it. And then 0-1, you're already thinking, all right, I'm going to swing on this one. It's like auto swing. And you swing at a slider in the dirt or a pitch that you probably shouldn't swing at. Now you're 0-2. Felt like LSU, we're never going to run the ball on first down. So we're going to throw a pass down the field, incomplete, right? They were not very successful on first down. Then on 2nd and 10, we're just going to run it. We're just going to run it. And you're getting 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11. And now you put yourself in a position where your quarterback's going to have to make these outrageous plays against a really good defense to get these long third downs. And that's on the road. Like that doesn't match up well. Like that doesn't play
with fire.
That doesn't play well.
So I look at this too, and there's a whole lot of people just wearing out Nuss.
Right.
And now we're gonna sound like the player apologist, like as if we're defending every player in every situation. But I want to take you back just a little bit to a little spot right here. So Nuss in this game, right? 25 of 50, 405 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. The 3 picks is in the completion percentage is probably the part where you're like, ugh, that's ugly. Quarterback rating is 73.4. But there's also a one time not too far ago, and this is how we get so spoiled when we see stuff.
Can I say that before you go? 50 passes is far
it's
too
a lot.
much.
It's a lot. It's so much.
Okay.
But here's how we get so spoiled, especially in this fan base, when we see people excel, because you think that that's supposed to happen year in and year out. It wasn't too far ago, but there's a certain quarterback who played here who was in a loss at Florida, where you got beat 27-19, who went 19 of 34 for 192 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks, and a quarterback rating of 54.1. I just said Nuss's was 73 point something. You know who that was?
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow in 2018 in his 7th start of the season. Nuss is on what start of the season?
Look at that's good. That's good.
Number 8.
That's
number
good
8 of
media
his
stuff
career.
right there.
This was his number 7 start of his career. And you know what he did the rest of the season? He only threw 6 more touchdowns. That year, he threw 18 touchdowns. I'm sorry, I lied. 12 touchdowns. Nuss had more than that coming into last game. So when we sit here and we're like, oh, Nuss is terrible. I told you he was a bad quarterback, blah, 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 blah. Get him out of here. You're crazy. It was a bad game by him, no doubt. But you know what? It doesn't help when you only run for less than 30 yards, and it doesn't help when you ask him to throw the ball 50 times in a single game.
Issue. And it's not like my other thing is, and I think it's a compliment to Nuss as a quarterback, right? It's a compliment to Nuss as being able to understand what the defense is doing. Be able to understand the offense and be able to run it as a coach on the field, right? So my point in saying that is I think it's a credit to him because the offense, the passing game is an advanced down the field passing game, right? There's not a lot of like gimmicky underneath super crossers. We're going to get this ball to our athlete and let him make a couple guys miss and go. Like you have some of that for sure. But out of those 50 passes, let's say 10 of those maybe were that, right? Everything else was push the ball down the field, get the ball this way. You have to go and make some elite level reads, which is fine because he's capable of doing that. But you don't want to throw the ball 50 times with that type of high risk of a passing game. Because, yeah, you're gonna get the rewards, and you may not get a ton of interceptions, but when you do, it's gonna matter.
Yeah.
Right? And so, hey, 35 times, throwing the ball 35 times a lot. He threw the ball 50 times.
The way, like you said, the way we tried it, where we tried to throw the ball, how we tried to do it. Like I feel like you got to find someone like Xavier Thomas, right? If you're not able to run it, literally just be able to run it the way you are, because you're now finding ways of Aaron Anderson to even throw him a slant ball or throw him a go ball, and he can actually take the top off a little bit. You've implemented Chris Hilton back into the offense. You have Kyren to move the chains. You have guys like C.J. Daniels. Then maybe you need to start finding a way to get the ball to Xavier Thomas more and allow him to get the ball in his hands and just do work. If we're not able to like legit run the ball, do the extended running game, get the ball on the outside, get the ball to guys like him, let it turn into a punt return, and let him go get you 6 to 8 to 12 yards if you need it. There has to be other ways of being able to do it, because continuing to try to push the ball down the field this much, 2 games in a row. Like you watch for the first 6 games, him throw the ball a lot better, higher percentage, and all of a sudden for 2 games in a row, he's sitting right at 50 or under 50% because we keep trying to push it so far down the field. You have to be able to use the short intermediate spots better, and I think guys like somebody like Xavier Thomas, you need to be able to utilize them better.
I mean, let me go through this real quick. First game of the season, USC, 38 passing attempts. Nichols, 37. South Carolina, 40. UCLA, 44. South Alabama, 39. Ole Miss, 51. Arkansas, 34. A&M, 50. Your 2 greatest games, your 2 good best hardest games of the year, 51 pass attempts and 50 pass attempts.
Bail me out.
Right? Like, you have got to give him some help. He has got to have some guys being able to run the football and get him some positive yards. And if it's not running the football, we've got to figure out a way to keep the chains going this way. You can't continually ask him to have 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 11s, 3rd and 9s, and be able to convert first downs against these high-level defenses. That's too hard. On any quarterback, not just Nuss. On any quarterback. That is hard.
And I'm a big proponent of, like, you're at LSU. You don't have bad players when it comes to the backfield. They're not bad. You may not feel like, oh my God, we got game beaters and we got a first rounder back here, but you don't have bad players. Right. So with that being said, if you can't run the ball, you gotta start finding a way to utilize the short passing game. And they're not doing it to the best ability of that I believe you have a chance to do.
It's hard for Nuss to find easy throws. Like,
let me ask you, when's the last time you've seen when have you seen a screen pass to one of our running backs?
I would say, like, it wasn't even a screen pass, but it was a check down to Caden Durham.
When's the last time you've seen a screen pass?
Yeah, we don't like screens.
That's my point. You have to start utilizing this short passing game.
And look,
Mettenberger wasn't pretty when he did it, but it worked.
It works.
Everybody was.
Nuss is averaging 41 attempts a game.
I know. That's too much.
Yeah.
I would like to see that number be 30 attempts.
Yeah, your best game of the year, like I said, was probably Arkansas. You threw it 34 times. No touchdowns, but 23 of 34, and you ran for over 100 yards.
Yes.
That's the formula.
No doubt. And 30 times isn't like, oh, we're a running football team. You know what I mean? Like, go look at the NFL numbers. Go look at these quarterbacks in the NFL. They're throwing the ball 30, 35 times, right? Sometimes not even that many. They ain't throwing it. If they're throwing the ball 50 times, they're probably losing the game.
Yeah.
You had for the entire game, you had 31 yards rushing.
Yes.
In the first quarter, you had 23. Like that's when your offense was actually working a little bit, and you didn't get away from it as quickly as like. Then second, third, first quarter, you didn't even try.
I'll put the last little part too. I do think this part is on Nuss, and I do think this is something that to me, in my opinion, it really doesn't matter what the coaches are telling you, if they're even telling you something like this, but you're going to have to start showing that you can pull the ball down and get yardage, get positive yardage.
And he showed that.
And no.
No, go ahead.
More than once.
No,
like you have to start doing this to make them respect that part of your game.
No doubt.
And I don't think he's doing it enough. And
I
think nobody's respecting that.
He's
so it's
definitely
not
not
showing
doing
up in the running game. It's not showing up in being able to use the intermediate part of the field because they don't feel like they have to stay sucked in to anything. Because why? He ain't gonna run.
Yeah.
He's never run. They don't dump it down. He ain't running. Why do we need to do that? We're just gonna keep getting depth and we're gonna play all of this. So he's making it harder on himself because of that. But they need to be able to help him more.
And look, in the Ole Miss game, he had the 13-yard run on third down, got the first down. A&M game, he had the 10-yard run on third down, got the first down. Actually kind of delivered the blow to that guy. Kind of banged him up a little bit. Like, you don't have to do that a lot, but you got to do it enough to keep them honest. And he has shown the ability to do it.
He's
right?
athletic enough to run.
Just do it. Right?
I think
like, you're athletic enough to get out of the pocket and roll out right and throw the ball. Like, just do it a couple times. And I'm not saying look to run.
No, and I think he's clearly looking to throw, and this is something that's been ingrained in him since he was in he didn't run in high school either.
Right,
like he's every time it's been like you talk about RPO, or a quarterback option, like a zone read where you can keep it. There's always already a pass play tag to it when it's nuts, and he's looking to throw it before he's going to run it,
and that's okay,
and that's fine. But at some point, like you said, we said this last week, like make the job easier on yourself.
Yeah.
If you run it 2 times, 3 times. It opens up so much more for you, and then like down the road, the game gets easier.
Yeah.
And we're not even talking about
make
rolling
him respect
out
you.
like when you're moving out the pocket, just running. Like that's separate.
And he still don't
I'm
want to do
talking
that.
about just a couple times, just pull it back and get
a dog.
5 yards. Just a couple times.
Hell, I'm not even. Yes, that would
both,
be great.
Both
too.
ends of it.
I'm talking about when
Scramble.
you are in the pocket and you are looking. I'm going to be honest with you. He does such a really good job of moving the pocket, of keeping his eyes up on the field. But sooner or later, pull that bitch and get 6. Pull that bitch and get 12.
Yeah.
Make them start respecting. If you're able to do that and move the chains 2 to 3 times a game, and you put that on film, they are no longer sinking in obvious passing downs because they realize he just might. He actually might do it. But now when we can only recall 2 to 3 times that you've done it on the year and we're going through 8 games of the season, nobody's respecting it. So they're going to keep getting depth. And they're going to keep making it harder and harder and harder for you to make the throws you want to make.
And it makes it easier on the defense to be able to – we can run man because we're not scared to turn our backs to the quarterback because
even if not, dude, if I can call – that's a great point too, and you can really start running some 2-man and really make it hard for you to beat them over the top. But even think about it this way, dude. If I can only recall 2 to 3 times where you've pulled it down and got a first down and it's 3rd and 6 – am I as a defense 9 months into November thinking, hey, on 3rd and 6, hey,
watch out.
He might pull it down. Nah, I'm just going to keep getting depth, dog.
Right.
Why? Why would I not?
If he does it, great. Keep doing it.
He ain't going to do it again. It might be one time. I'm going to keep getting depth.
No
so,
doubt.
like, he's got to start doing that as well. But that's kind of where I'm at when it comes offensively. If you're not going to be able to run the ball traditionally on the ground, you got to start using the screen game. You got to start using some of these other little scat guys and start getting the ball to them even more to make this thing a little easier.
Yeah, I'm surprised about the lack. Like, you've seen Trey'Dez Green obviously play a lot more. But that's come at the expense of Xavion Thomas. But I would like to see Xavion, like, whenever you do put him in the backfield and give him opportunities to run the football, he gets 8-10 yards, and then you never go back to it.
He needs to be part of the running game. Honestly, like, I'm not saying put him at running back.
I think it's,
but like, I wouldn't be mad if they put him in the backfield and gave him some.
No,
balls.
I would be. I don't want him to. I
don't need him to hand it off,
running
not
game.
be a running back.
Yeah.
But like, you can motion him in the backfield, and you can go do some sort of
orbit motion,
short passing game.
Run your jets, run your pop passes, run your stick it in the stomach, throw it out there in the RPOs. Like, start moving the rock like that. If we can't traditionally run it, like we just have to.
No doubt.
Because that first quarter by LSU was like a masterclass of us in the offense. Like, he was in his bag. Like, that throw, like you were in, like, a triple backfield. We had people like the inverted Maryland eye, and then you move Josh Williams in motion, and then you go to
like a legitimate run formation, and you go to like our form closed off, and then you run play action, and he throws it back corner to Mason Taylor. It's like, that's
great
offense.
throw.
No, dude, he's been great this year. It's crazy to me that
I
people,
agree.
like I watch people say after this game, he's terrible, been saying it for 2 years, get him out of there. You should have let him transfer. And I'm thinking to myself, Coach, he came into the game leading the SEC in touchdowns.
These are the same people that thought
That's
Jane
my,
Daniels
that's
was
my
good.
point. It's like what you've seen. So when we had Joe Burrow and he did what he did, next thing you know, Jaden Daniels could do no right. Now, Jaden Daniels leaves, Nusmeier can do no right. What do you want the man to do?
Right.
Like, he's doing everything he needed to do up until this point. He is probably one of the biggest reasons as to why you were 6-1 or 7-1 in the position that you were in. So to sit here and say that, oh, I've been saying it for 2 years, waiting for that one bad game, and not be able to contextualize that, hey, this is his 8th start of his career. And in a game where he threw for 400 plus and 2 touchdowns, you're saying that I've been saying for 2 years he's been bad. I've been saying that, man, put them other boys in, they got other ones. What?
And this is the same guy that they
sit down.
Yeah, and then last year, you wanted us to start. Like,
last year,
Daniels
you
runs
wanted him
too
to start.
much.
Exactly.
And
so
now,
like, that's,
you just don't know.
That's crazy work to me. That's crazy talk to me. It doesn't make any sense. But we got to start being able to help him out with the run game. It's just really that simple.
And that's what?
I would say the reason that probably happened is the Dellinger injury. Whenever you had 2 freshmen next to each other, Mbenga and DJ Chester, became extremely hard to run the football.
No
and
doubt.
Nuss
No
got,
doubt.
his foot got stepped on.
What was the
ankle?
Is it like serious?
We'll find out when Brian Kelly speaks
But
to the media.
there has been no
update.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean that does obviously hurt, right? But this running game didn't.
And that's what hurt. That's what
but
hurts
it's
even
been all
more.
year.
Yeah,
and I'm going to sidebar it again just one more time before we get off of it. I still think they should have won the game if you prepared for the backup.
No doubt. Me
That's
too.
Simple.
It couldn't have been. Yeah,
that's simple.
And
that can't be the reason you lose. And it was.
And here's the deal: like championship teams that win big games, they don't mess up on special teams like the way they messed up on special teams this game. And you can miss a field goal, right? But you can't have a missed field goal. Then the second field goal, the snap almost goes right through the holder's hands, and he doesn't get the ball around enough. And then the third one hits the holder right in the chest.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That shouldn't have even hurt you in this game. Like,
yeah, but you can't. But you
no.
You know what I mean?
No, you're saying championship teams. I agree.
You gotta make
you got to be able
things
to get to those spots, but also teams grow during the season. They get better. They cut out mistakes. They start doing things right. Like, you don't have a veteran squad that's been in these spots so many different times where you expect that from the start of the year. So you're not wrong at all. But I do think a lot of times teams grow to being a championship type team. They start making better. They start making less mistakes. They start doing better on stuff that they did bad on. So I when it comes to that stuff, yeah, you have a chance to grow to that because I do think you're better. We haven't seen Ramos be that bad all year. We haven't seen the goofy stuff happen in the kicking game all year. So championships teams, they don't do it. But you still should win this game without them.
Right, and they become championship teams after games like this.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, we did this. We figured it out. We get better. Now you have to get better, right? Chris Hilton, good to see him back out there. You could tell he was a little rusty.
Yeah.
He mistimed a couple jumps. He felt like, he wanted to make some plays. He had opportunity. They went at him. You could just tell he was a little rusty, right?
Yeah, if those are plays that he was able to be in, if he had been doing this a whole year, healthy, practicing, doing stuff, and look, it's very easy to get out of that. You go 1 to 2 weeks of not being able to judge a ball while running full speed. You may miss time that. He looked like he hadn't
played all year.
You may miss time that as well. So like it was very apparent how rusty he was in those spots because those were 50-50 balls that I guarantee you, had he been healthy and playing all year and practicing a lot, it's a 50-50 ball. It's probably more 80-20 that he comes down with it, honestly. Like that's where those balls were in those situations. So it was great to see him back out there. You can tell he brings another element to the offense. He just needs to be out in the field and playing more and doing more.
5 targets, 2 catches, 36 yards. The other thing that hurts you that kind of may have gone unnoticed is C.J. Daniels gets hurt again, and he comes out the game. And that we said it last week.
Chain mover, he did it early in the game.
Yeah, 2 targets, 2 catches, 17 yards, 11 yards after catch, and then he gets out the football game, and it just feels like it kind of like you put a lot of what C.J. Daniels does on Chris Hilton. That's not what Chris Hilton does well.
Right.
And so that's where there's a positive to this. If now you have a bye week and you get ready you have 2 weeks to get C.J. Daniels healthy, Chris Hilton back and active and kind of in the offense, and I've got no really qualms with Nuss. Like if you're just,
zero qualms.
Like I trust that quarterback, and you have.
I knew the egg game was coming soon. You just would hope it didn't happen in a loss.
Right.
You were crazy to sit here and think. So I
You're
don't
putting
care
way
how many
too much on
years
his plate
I don't care who
to not
you
expect something
I
bad
don't
to
care
happen
what
at some
household
point.
you grew up in and who you sat behind. You haven't played. So when you haven't played, you're gonna get out there and mess something up sooner or later without the experience. So I'm not surprised at all that happened.
First true
I'm
big
not
road game
surprised,
too.
yeah, man. I'm not surprised at all.
Right? Like true, like on the road.
South Carolina.
Yeah, but like top.
I wouldn't say first true, but this is
like,
one of the tougher
you're a top
places.
10 matchup.
This is
you know
one
what
of
I
the
mean?
tougher places to play in the country.
Right.
Let's just be fair about it and say it.
Yeah,
that
once
way.
it gets on your head, it was on your head.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like that place was closing in
Yeah,
on
and
them.
look, South Carolina's a good example, right? Because they're down 17. can't
South
let them
Carolina
roll
is a
back.
true place to play.
Yeah.
I just think that this is
Night
This is
game.
a different. This is one of
Yeah.
the top 8 places that you could sit here and say when they have it rolling there as a team, and you go in there at night and play against, and they got everybody yelling and doing all the different signs. It's a different place to play. It just is. It's just more than it is at South Carolina and other. It's just a different place to play.
Okay. How do we feel?
Get Caden Durham healthy too.
Well, this is it.
But that's what I think.
love the 2 bye weeks in the college football season now.
But I think this is why it probably hurts a little bit more if you're an LSU fan, where you could see the end, like the light at the end of the tunnel. Like get through this one, bye week,
Yeah, but
Bama,
like-
and it sets up where you don't even have to win the Bama
But
game.
here's the deal.
And now it's like you got all
LSU,
you're all in,
LSU has not won at Texas A&M since 2016.
which is crazy to me.
Right? Like, it is. People don't want to call it a rivalry. It is. Because they don't win here and we don't win there.
And they were fighting before the game.
And you have all and so it is a hard place to play. It's not a team. When you play at A&M, it's not somewhere you could just chalk it up and say, oh, we're going to win it, no matter how good or bad they are, right? Similar to what Arkansas used to be for us. And so you haven't won it since 2016. You can't say, oh, I just need to get through it. But yes, you saw it. You felt like there was a lot of improvement. I don't think that LSU is turning into a pumpkin and they're not going to be good. I still feel pretty confident about them moving forward. I feel confident about them going to Alabama. I feel confident that they get
Alabama coming in.
Alabama coming in here. I feel confident that the guys that are hurt or banged up are going to get healthy and be ready to go. What are y'all's feelings on that? What are y'all's feelings about LSU's games moving forward and about Alabama coming here as the next one?
I feel better about it than I did at the start of the year by having 2 losses at this point in the year. But there's also some weird caveats to this too, whereas Oklahoma's not nearly the team you think they were unless they get healthy, right? So you
Which
feel
is the last game of the year.
that's what I'm saying. Which it could turn into a different game by that point because I don't know the exact extent of those injuries,
Their defense
especially
is
for the
good.
receivers. Defense is good. They obviously played better this past week. So like right now, it's not a for sure, but you feel better about that game. But that's a trade-off because you got a top 25 Vanderbilt that's possible. Like,
right? And
so
you got to go 2
and you got a Florida
playing better.
who's playing better. So like there's some spots there, but this is obviously the one, and it's been the one for a long time. You would love to have gotten to this spot with either one and or no losses to where this would no longer be the one that either hurt you or helped you. But here we are again, where it's in 2 weeks you're basically playing a de facto elimination game for
Every
both
game's a
teams.
playoff game.
Not just like we already know LSU at this point. It's the playoffs have started, but you didn't really think coming into the year that the playoffs probably would have been started for Alabama as well. Well, they have.
Yep.
So both teams are literally in a spot where this is a playoff game, and the loser will literally be playing for the Cheez-It Bowl, like you said. And that's
No doubt.
That's kind of where you are at this point.
And it is. Both teams know it's a playoff game, right? Both teams know that they haven't played or they haven't won the games. It's probably give A&M game. LSU looks back and said we should have beaten USC. Like we got to win that game. That game, you go look at Alabama, like there's no way we should have lost to Vanderbilt.
You know what I think about the USC game too, which is crazy to me, especially now that their season is going the way it's going, and they've dropped 4 games already.
Who?
USC. I
and they
firmly believe
they could have won all 4 of those.
Yeah, they could have, but they lost them. So I
Right,
guess
right.
you might have been ranked a little higher, especially maybe like in front of a Tennessee going into last game. But it's pretty obvious to me that the national conversation around LSU is still going to be the same thing.
Yep.
Where nobody believes them. So you were
Right.
going to have to beat
You're gonna
Bama
have to beat
to be
them.
believed anyway at this point.
Right.
And that's kind of where you're at.
And look, I think you beat, like you spoke about the other teams they got on the schedule, right? There are no gimmies.
Yeah.
Right? Thankfully you have, crazy saying this, but thankfully you have Vandy at home. right? Like, you know, Texas almost lost at Vandy. Alabama lost at Vandy. Like, you have Vandy at home right now.
Such a hard thing to wrap your head around.
Exactly. With the season that they're having, like, makes it a little bit dangerous when you go there. But you have them at
Does
home.
the stadium even finish?
No.
No, it's not finished.
That's the home field advantage right there. Like, where are we?
But you
Look
have
at cranes back there.
Yeah.
They are. You see it.
I
You
know.
see the
That's
extra
what I
points.
thought. Yeah, that's what I thought.
But we have them at home. It's not gimmicks. But if you go and you take care of business at home against Alabama, that leaves you with one more road game at Florida, and it puts this confidence on you. Like, all right, we got past them. All right, we control our destiny. We are going to be better than all the 3 teams that we're playing, and we need to go out there and we need to show it. Right? A&M, you could argue that A&M was the better team.
No,
A&M's got as much talent. You could argue that, right? If you're not LSU fans and you're looking at it from a roster standpoint, there it is. There's the Vandy Stadium.
Look at that home field advantage, dog.
There you go.
Texas really walked in there. It was like,
you should
damn.
probably have the workers going and having all kind of jackknife like noises going on.
Third down.
Isn't that wild, dude?
That's crazy.
And they're beating people's ass.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I love that. Look, I don't think A&M was better than LSU. But,
No.
But if you're looking at it from a non-biased point of view, you could argue that A&M's got just as much talent, if not more, than LSU. Right? And I don't think that's the case. But you could argue it. You can say no, you want all you want, but you can argue that. After Alabama moving forward past that, I don't think that you can look at any of those teams and say those same things. And so at that point, you build your confidence. Say, all right, you've already done this. Now go ahead and be the team that you're supposed to be and go out and win. And you got to get through the Alabama game, but it's at home at night, much to Lane Kiffin's dismay. And so I feel good about it. How do you feel, Lloyd? Give me your thoughts and feelings and concerns.
Love the thoughts.
And hopes and dreams about the rest of the season.
I'm pulling up Lane Kiffin, who seems to be perturbed the fact that Ole Miss does not get a
he's perturbed.
Night game. What is it, Georgia? Ole Miss, Georgia?
Yeah.
That's the one he wanted? Don't lose to Kentucky at home. I feel like that
or
was...
LSU on the road.
Yeah, well, and like to your point, like of where LSU is, it feels like you kind of got away with the Ole Miss win as much as you lost that A&M game. Like at some point it was going to come to a head. You were playing with fire for far too long.
It's Georgia, so you got 2-1.
Tommy Moffitt's not happy that we said that they're not as good as us.
2:30 if y'all against Georgia.
Ask him
so
if
you
that's his
got
chair.
2 kicks left. From your perspective, or coaching perspective, is there any?
You want to hop on? You want to hop
I
on?
do too.
Ask Tommy if he wants to come on the show.
I said,
Yeah,
I argued that if you're a non-biased could argue that A&M was just as talented, if not more talented than LSU. And that's true, right? I personally feel like LSU
gave that to you. It was gifted, hand wrapped.
Well, they beat us in the
Merry
second half.
Christmas.
LSU didn't make the adjustments to go and defend and do the things they needed to do to be able to win the game. But for 2.5 quarters, they were the better team, and then they brought in a guy, and then it just all fell apart. So, but it wasn't coming out of A&M. A&M deserved to win it.
Sure,
they deserved to win it. What are your thoughts? Give me your thoughts. We just missed that interview with him, but he's perturbed.
Oh yeah, here I brought it back up because I didn't know Tommy was going.
They just announced.
He's mad at you. He's mad at you.
Be on the show or don't. The Zoom link still
So you
works.
got
He's mad at you.
2 afternoon kicks left.
Line it up again.
From your perspective or coaching perspective, is there any advantage at all to playing day to tonight kickoffs?
Yeah, I think that's proven over time in NFL and college. Playing at night in electric atmospheres is a home field advantage, and tough when you got to do that as a.
That does feel like Lane. This was funny when he did it a few times. Now he's doing it every week, and it feels like he's becoming a baby.
LSU gets to play at night again.
Rich kid.
Yes. Shocker.
So
that's 2 for 2 for them.
I like him still.
Oh yeah.
But I just feel like.
An advantage. I feel bad.
And I know. Look, he's got to
fans,
promote his guys. He's got to promote his team. If he's not going to do it, who's going to do it? You know what I mean? I understand it. It's just. Outside of you,
comes off a little whiny.
Yeah, and outside of you, in your opinion, I think 99% of the people
0.9.
around the country would say, "Hey, night game LSU Alabama in Baton Rouge probably going to be better than a night game of Georgia at Ole Miss."
Especially after what you saw against Ole Miss, like that place. And answer me this: do you think that the atmosphere now becomes better for the Alabama game because of a loss, because of everything.
It's a playoff game.
It's a playoff
game. Like everybody knows the play. Like, it's not like, oh, you have 4 teams, you got to win. You can't. We've lost 2, we're out. No, it is a playoff game. You win or go home, basically.
Yeah, I think it'll be better. I think it's. I think once people come off the initial shock of how you lost the last game and kind of how it goes, and you give it 2 weeks to kind of build up into that spot. I think once you get to like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of that week, so about 10-ish days from now, people started looking at it and being like, "Oh, wait a second, this is where things are. This is where these numbers are." Because I think right now we're sitting at 2 teams that are hovering right around that 15 spot. You went over a team like this, and with LSU schedule, you still got Vandy, you still got Oklahoma, you still got Florida. You can potentially push yourself into that top 12, right, in that spot without even going to an SEC championship game, and you're sitting there without a doubt as one of those teams that they're sitting here saying, do you make it or do you not? Yeah. So I think people will kind of start seeing that and understanding that that's where this situation is. What are you going to do with it? Like we said, we've talked about it already. You're at a spot right now. Your playoffs start today. Like they started as soon as that game ended in College Station. That's where you're at.
Yeah. Because I think the atmosphere, obviously, it's easy to show up for LSU, Alabama regardless. But after a win, I felt like the vibes have been very high. But now it feels like there's an impetus to be able to, you have to win. And so I think it's to be a little nervous atmosphere, but a lot of people.
Yeah, hopefully
because this could be your season. Like they might not.
Hopefully the players.
Yeah, then it might not matter what happens at Vanderbilt at home.
Yeah, but that's the other thing is I would love not.
You lose one more, you're done.
Yeah, I would love for not just to fall apart though. At that point, you got to keep going out there and play.
Yeah, well, no shit, but yeah, but I'm talking about from a fan's perspective. It's not going to be like Ole Miss. Like Alabama's your last probably true test to keep this thing going.
Yeah.
For what you have at home and you have everything still, I would say in front of you.
Yeah.
But as Brian Kelly said, the margin for error is now 0.
It is 0.
Played with your food.
It's 0. A&M just curb stomped us, and now we gotta get over that.
It sucks that it's A&M too.
It's true. I mean, a lot of people feel that way.
When you implement one Tommy Moffitt in that thing, you might change the mindset.
I feel bad for Tommy.
You might change the mindset around there.
They changed his mindset. They got him.
No, he's doing. Obviously doing a great job.
I mean, there's an interview we had with Tommy, him talking about A&M before he was there, and him talking about A&M after, and he got brainwashed.
What do you want him to say?
Yeah, what do you want him to say?
Like,
I just
what on earth do you want him to say?
Be truthful.
Okay.
I'm asking you. What on earth do you want him to say?
Look, he was
a little weird here.
He's there and he sees it now.
It's like he got baptized.
No, it's okay. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what I would
In
do.
his heart of hearts, you gave him true serum, he'd be like, the place is weird as hell.
I mean,
so you putting words in his mouth?
You're putting words in his mouth.
Wow.
What you're doing.
You're that guy?
You're the new
wow.
age journalism. The journalist. You're the new age
Wow.
journalist.
He said these
That's
people are
bad journalism.
He said these people are going to protect the country. Ain't nobody from Texas A&M ever fought in a war. Like,
how you know that?
That's not true.
The last one that went was like 1956. I looked it up because he's like, they're going to protect the country. Like, these people they're fake. They're cosplaying as Marines. Like, it's actually a slap in the face to the country.
Look at this guy.
It's almost as disrespectful as Notre Dame did to our Navy team.
That was
over though.
Overhit.
You're
no, actually, I think I took the under.
The over.
No, I did.
Yeah, we did over.
Yeah, we did over.
But yeah.
Yeah, good thing I didn't take the spread on that one.
Speaking of overs, North Texas, Tulane.
Hey, easy over. BYU
number 2 pencil was
did
sharp.
BYU did it quickly.
Did it quick, and then who was mine?
They went up 17 to start. It was 17-0.
And then it became a game, and then they went.
Yeah, of course. But they just had to win. They could have won by 1.
What was my pick?
We had Boise State.
I had Boise State.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of a sweat. A little bit of a sweat.
I wanted to.
And here's our guy. Shout out to Nicholas. He's the guy that tailed us.
He tailed us.
There it is.
And look, he had better odds than we did. He had plus 612. We had plus 5 something.
Good for him.
We're trying to tell you.
Look, and he's in the positive. He ain't scared to push that account.
Right now.
He posted his account.
He ain't scared.
Where are we at?
That thing only went up.
60% rate right now.
How many games have we played?
I think we've hit 5. We've hit 5 out of the 8 weeks.
5 out of 8. That's
5 out of 8 or 5 out of 9?
5 out of 8. It's only 8 weeks. I don't think we didn't do it.
Yeah, so week 1 we did.
Yeah, we didn't do it in week 0, so I think it's 5 out of 8 we've done.
Okay, we lost week 1. 1 week 2, 3, 4.
Ole Miss.
Lost
Kentucky.
With just this week, so that's 5. That's our 5, yeah.
So we lost that one, so we're 3-2. Then we're 4-2. 4-3, 5-3.
Yeah.
You're right.
Tell you what, if I every day, if I was 5 for 8 at the plate,
steaks.
Hey, I'd be a guy right now.
5-3 on parlays.
On parlays. 3 picks. Happy for us.
Great for us. Technically, I had actually bonus 3 like parlays.
Yeah, he did double down.
Yeah, that was great. Count's looking nice. What's okay?
Isn't that a great feeling?
Great feeling.
There's a time whenever you open that app and it's like checking your taxes. You're like, fuck, I got to pay this at some point.
You don't want to look in the right corner. You're just like, you know what?
I'm going to crop this out.
Speaking of the rest of college football, right? So I love the way college football is set up right now because I enjoy the parody. I enjoy the craziness. I enjoy every game. Like, you have an opportunity to get upset or lose. Like, you don't know who's going to win, right? Like, that's fun.
I'd be honest with you, even if you didn't feel like there was the parity, by creating the playoff system, what people thought was gone, meaning like, oh, every game's not going to matter anymore. Hey, right now, this LSU-Alabama game wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter anymore. Both of those teams would be out. Wouldn't matter anymore.
Right.
This year, though,
it matters.
It's a playoff game, right?
No doubt.
So, like, it's completely different at this point.
100%. People got mad about the transfer portal. Like, oh, it's going to crush football. It's going to do all this. Listen, there's some flaws to it, no doubt. There's some flaws to NIL. But NIL and the transfer portal, if you look at around college football, I think it's made football better. Everybody thought that it was going to hurt the smaller schools and it was going to benefit the bigger schools. NIL, sure, some of it helps that. Sure, some of the smaller schools that have really talented players, they're going to leave and they're going to go to the bigger schools. But then some of the bigger schools that have too many guys that they don't play on the field, the 2 and 3 deep guys who are really talented, maybe they're freshmen, sophomores, and they're behind another freshman or sophomore who just happens to be better. Maybe they play and they don't get an opportunity, so they transfer and they go to maybe a somewhat of a smaller school so they can play. And all of a sudden, that smaller school is elevated, and now all these schools are now a lot more competitive. To me, that's good for college football.
Yeah, like every system's imperfect, and we talk about the portal and how imperfect the portal is. It is, without a doubt. But Lane's not having that conversation and mad about not getting night game because he knows how important this game is, because this is basically their de facto playoff game as well.
What did Brian Kelly say about this?
Keep going, sorry.
Yeah. Let's say Lane's not mad about that stuff if there isn't the portal, because guess what? They don't lose to Kentucky without Brock Vandagriff saying, if Carson's coming back,
I'm out.
I got to leave. I need to go play somewhere. So they take a 5-star quarterback who transfers to Kentucky because he's sitting behind Carson Beck and goes and beats Lane. So that's where the parity part of it is coming. There is great that's grown the game. Obviously, there's the side of that we all don't love to it and how people abuse it, and it is, how it gets kind of crazy.
And some guys transfer too early.
It's made the game a lot better.
No doubt. No doubt.
And if you want to take it a step further, like you can talk about Vandagriff, and if you're Georgia, we'd have Raiola on campus, and you would be looking at Carson Beck throw 3 interceptions. You go, we might put the freshman in. Instead, he's at Nebraska.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Old Mahomes light.
Nebraska kept that thing tight.
Did.
25.5. That was a weird one for me. I was like, that just feels like a layup. It was almost such a big spread that I was like, this
maybe
is
I don't know.
Yeah, it was such a big spread that you were like, ain't no way, but you're also like,
maybe.
Well, ain't no way I'm putting no dollars on it.
Yeah,
but
I did.
This don't make any sense, right?
I did though. I was like, they're gonna cover. They did. It was 21-17.
Yeah,
but like, it was. I was like, damn, is Raiola hurt that nobody knows about? Like, but Vegas, like, why is it 25? I know they got their doors blown off the week before, but that was kind of an anomaly. Like, they're not that great, but they're not that bad. 25.5 was a lot. Wasn't very. I haven't been impressed with Ohio State this year.
No, and we ran the college football playoff simulator, which is a fun game to play. Like,
Fun
that'll
game.
knock off a couple hours of work for sure. And one of the simulations had LSU playing Ohio State. That does not make me nervous.
You must get paid by the hour.
Yeah, I don't even know. I haven't filled out my timesheet in a long time, but I just kind of gave up. Just do it for the love of the game, dude.
Do we have what did Brian Kelly say about those? I'm actually curious about that. Did he mention that?
Yes, let me pull up. I have. I'll let you know when I have them ready. But I have some of his talking points.
We don't have to. I was just curious.
Oh no, because I think it is.
Gives a lot of context. Some people may not have seen everything that he said and how he's going about it.
And it just felt like it was very pointed.
Yeah.
As to what he was saying, special teams wise, where it was like, damn, somebody's head's on the chopping block. I don't know who it is. It's either Slade Roy or it's Peyton Todd, but he was not happy with either. Either one of them.
I'm curious to what exactly happened.
I'll let you know what happened. Hold up.
But what I was saying before that, as far as college football goes, who are we impressed with? Who are we not sure about? Because it's getting, people are losing game. People are, Who's the number 1 team in the country? Right now it is Oregon, right? They're undefeated.
Yeah.
And Georgia's 2 with a loss.
Yeah.
Is Oregon the last undefeated team? Or is Penn State undefeated as well? I think Penn State's undefeated too.
Penn State's undefeated. Iowa State's undefeated.
That's right.
Oregon's undefeated.
I was talking about the top 5. Yeah.
Yeah. You know who else is undefeated? Indiana.
Indiana's still undefeated. Without their quarterback.
He's back.
I know, without their quarterback last week, though, they did it.
What they did without him was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So you have Oregon, Penn State, Miami are 1-3-5. BYU was number 9. Iowa at 11. Iowa State at 11. Indiana at 13. Pitt at 18, also undefeated.
Quarterback's out, though.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yep.
From here.
Holstein's out.
Army is number 21, also undefeated. So, and then
Army's got Air Force. You'd imagine they're going to be undefeated again. I'm taking that.
They got Notre Dame too.
Yeah. After that.
Somebody needs to beat Notre Dame. Has to happen.
Does Notre Dame have any hard games?
No. Let's see who's left on their schedule. That was a big one, but Navy couldn't get the job done. It's all right.
They turn the ball over so much.
51-14. They have Army left on the schedule, undefeated, and USC. And Florida State. Watch out now. Florida State's got to do something at some point. And Virginia.
What a shitty schedule.
But what a great schedule if you're Notre Dame. Like,
who's the one that's impressing you the most right now?
That's what I was asking.
Indiana. Honestly, they played big games, won them all. Like, I think Penn State still has one in them.
Who's impressing you the most in the sense of, they might win the whole thing this year?
See, I don't
have a clear cut. Like, I think Miami could drop any game. I think Penn State could drop any game. I think Oregon is like fallible. Like, that's why it felt like if you're LSU, it felt like you could have stolen one here.
I mean, if I had to pick right now, like. And I'm still not sold on them winning the national championship. I was going to say Oregon has looked the most impressive on the teams that they played, but, like, I'm still not sold on Oregon winning the national championship.
I'm in that spot where, like, I feel like Oregon is in a lot of the spot that Texas is in, where the coaching, they understand what you need to build a championship team because of the places that they came from. Texas got the welcome to it when they played Georgia. I don't feel like Oregon's ever really had that, and I'm not sure they'll have that unless they play unless they play a Georgia or an Alabama. So, but if they don't, they may very well waltz themselves right into a national championship. But then when I think about it, I'm like, man, you got somebody like Georgia who's kind of battle tested. They got pushed, they got beat. They went and pushed around a great team. They kind of got that drive back in them. That's scary. And honestly, if I'm gonna be completely honest about it, not that I really truly think that they're like at this point, they're a national championship team, but we kind of catching Alabama at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got them refocused. You got them with another week off where they're kind of figuring it out. They just beat a team 34-0 when all you've been questioning all year is, man, I don't think that defense is the same. They're not the same anymore. They didn't give up these points. They give up these points, and they just went out and did that. You're like, oh, shit. The beast might have been woken up a little bit. So to me, it's coming down to some of those still SEC teams that were the names of old, simply because I feel like they're a little more battle tested. I know some people can sit here and say, well, Oregon played Ohio State and this and that. Yes, they have. Tell me the last time Ohio State has really been the ones that have scared you and gone on and win. And I'm not saying that they haven't won lately. I'm just saying.
I agree.
We've seen them falter more at that spot than we've seen them hold up the trophy.
More where Lou Holtz is right now.
Exactly. And so that's the one that's.
And I'm looking at these things like Oregon.
Like, I have the odds.
All the Big Ten schedules are like pretty light. Right, like Oregon's got Michigan this week. They have Maryland, Wisconsin, Washington to finish the season. Then you have Penn State. Hey, you got one. Then you got Penn State this weekend. Obviously, they have Ohio State. So this is like, man, Big Noon Kickoff really fucks up the Big Ten, doesn't it? You have a 1 versus 4 team as an 11 a.m. game.
They have to play. Like, that's their slot.
I know that sucks, dude.
With Gus on the call.
I don't know. I mean, it sucks for who?
I think they like it.
I think they like it. I really do. Like, it's a thing in the Big Ten. You grow up and that's what you know. And then also, like, you forget. That is so translatable to the next level as well.
No doubt.
So I think some of these kids kind of like, they probably sell it that way when you get into these programs. They probably like it.
Yeah.
That's what they're used to.
It's a hell of a recruiting pitch.
But they got
ready for the next level.
Think about it, bro. Like, you only getting one night game, which we die for night games. But if you get to the NFL, there's only one of those a week.
Yeah.
So who knows if you're getting that? 2 of those a week if you honestly think about Sunday and Monday night.
I would imagine Penn State would be like, if they're the Penn State who they think they are. Like, this should be nighttime.
Well, this
Happy
is
Valley,
it, right? Like Ohio State's playing at Penn State right now. You would think, you would think it'd be a night game, but so that's the big game, right? Ohio State really doesn't have much after that. They got Penn State and they got Indiana, right? So Indiana's obviously undefeated. They play them second to last game, and they obviously got Michigan last game of the season.
But these are the games you have to kind of, if you're LSU now, you start pocket watching a little bit.
Absolutely.
But
no, you don't need to do that yet. You gotta win the games. Win your games
for sure. But
off your ball.
You need a little help because
but there's no help that you can get without you taking care of your
own business. For sure.
So you can't even if there was a such thing as tunnel vision and you thought you were there before,
put the blinders on.
It needs to go even. The focus needs to go even smaller.
Yep, put the blinders on.
Because there's nothing you can do. You tunnel vision, and then the head coach, and only the head coach, does the politicking after you've done what you need to do. But everybody else has got to be here. Because that's just where you are at this point.
Yep.
So
if you don't win, you don't have a chance.
Yeah, you got to take care of your own business first. And I do think if you do, you're probably in. But you have the current odds for the college football championship, the futures, Georgia plus 340, Ohio State plus 425, Oregon plus 475, Texas plus 475. Then you see a big drop off. Penn State 1,200, Tennessee plus 1,600, Clemson lurking plus 1,600, Alabama plus 1,600, and then you go Aggies at 2,400, LSU is plus 4,000.
Wow.
I'll take it.
You took them?
Of course. I mean, give me plus 4,000 on anything.
Yeah. So that makes me feel like Alabama's going to be favorites at home. That means
LSU minus.
It'll
be. You think so?
Yeah.
It'll be LSU like minus.
I mean, based on those odds, it feels like.
But you would factor in home field, like LSU minus 1.5 too.
But those odds wouldn't be that high if they're factoring that in.
I think they're looking at the rest of their schedule in totality. That's all. I think.
Yeah,
that's
they have to. If they lose LSU, they're out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so they're Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? So.
Because Alabama still has. They got Mercer on the schedule. Watch out now. They got LSU as their last big game, which the odds make sense. If you win that one, you feel like you've got a better chance to win a college football championship.
Right, and which means
and LSU wins, then their odds go down dramatically.
Yeah, it feels like the odds being that way that they're going to be favorites.
Yeah, or they're.
Has the line opened yet? 2 weeks ahead of time?
No,
probably not, huh?
You buy tickets.
All right, let's play the clip of what he says.
Oh yeah, poor Slade Roy.
I'm confused. I mean, I'm not confused. I want to hear it. Look at Fat Joe.
Is he rapping?
He had to. He admitted he was on Ozempic. It's like, yeah, Fat Joe, that's okay. It's not It's not a drug. It is. But
it is
but you need it. You're Fat Joe.
That's
Did he do Manjaro?
It's unacceptable. We're gonna have to. We'll get it fixed. It's never gonna happen again, ever.
Earlier, they weren't ready for it, or
that's twice now. That's happened. It's unacceptable. We're gonna have to. We'll get it fixed. It's never gonna happen again, ever.
And he stares at him like, "You got that?
Hey,
like listen to me.
Talking to whoever he's talking to.
It is never gonna happen again, ever. Got that? Don't ask me that question again.
We didn't think that was probably something that should have never happened in the first place, or no? We just want to spend any time on that.
And maybe they did. Maybe the guy just shit his pants.
Judging by the alignment and assignments I've seen,
well, on the kicking team, I'm not talking. He was talking about
that too.
Yeah, he's talking about the kickers. We weren't talking about the defense.
That too.
He's talking about the kicker right there. Yeah. Well, that's how that should happen. You know, damn, good. I like that answer.
I'm trying to find a video. There was one on Twitter I saw earlier today of him absolutely eviscerating Slade Roy on the bench and Peyton Todd. So I don't know who's getting the brunt of this.
I saw that in the game.
Yeah. So somebody's in trouble.
Oh, Jeets throw the first pitch?
But also, I will say, from like a tactical aspect, you put like Danny Ramos is a solid kicker.
Yeah, solid.
But he doesn't.
He's a solid college kicker.
Like
you
put him in spots to where he's never really succeeded. Like to ask him to make 48, 49-yard field goals.
Yeah, he could do that. 48's the longest.
Yeah, that's a 50-50 shot. Like
he's been making them.
I think you put him on anything under 45, you feel great. 49, 50, you start feeling like maybe. But also both the holds are bad. Laces out, Dan.
Both holds?
Mm-hmm. Didn't spin it all the way around.
I thought one hold was bad. Both holds were bad.
And then one got hit in the chest.
Yeah.
Didn't even get to hold it.
So 3.
Yes.
3 missed field goals, or 3 botched field goals, 2 missed, 1 just
Yeah, so
not
I'm
good.
saying I'm not putting any of that on Danny.
Okay.
Football is life.
Football is life.
And I know his name's Damien, but
Are you watching? Have you been watching any? He is really rapping. Oh, you know why they're doing this?
I don't know why.
Lean back.
Because Ice Cube did it in L.A. Ice Cube came out and started rapping on the field in L.A. And I got Fat Joe doing it on the pitcher's mound.
He's doing the Rockaway.
On the pitcher's mound.
Lean back.
Right before the first pitch. He's all these footprints in his friggin' Timberlands on the friggin' mound. Surprised he didn't try to kick the dirt and
I'm
start throwing a
surprised
pitch.
Dallas Braden's rolling over in his grave right now.
Come back and pack it down again and get it right before the
Get
game.
that tamp going.
You know, hey, them Timberlands heavy, boy.
Heavy.
Good for Fat Joe.
Oh,
Oh, the mic down.
Mic drop. That's not a drop. That's a spike.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah. Lean
He
back.
gronked that thing a little bit.
Lean back. That's a bad. Get the crowd up. Gotta get.
I really
more.
don't know another.
Can't get more of this. You
What's
gotta
another Fat Joe song? Does he have 2 in the repertoire? I feel like lean back's all he got.
Stop it, Lloyd. You've been in Tigerland too much to ask that question. Don't do that. Respect that man.
He has a lot.
Lean back. Make it rain.
Yep. Keep going.
Mm.
You don't know any of the other ones?
Make it rain remix. Another fire song. I mean, that's like takes me back to junior high.
Yeah. I mean, he hadn't really made. I mean,
he's a feature guy.
Yeah, that was his heyday.
Yeah, that was in the middle of it.
Terror Squad.
He was on a heater at that point.
No doubt. Have you been paying attention to the World Series? No.
I did see the Freddie Freeman walk off.
Game 1 I did. Game 2 I didn't see.
Yeah, I didn't see game 2.
Oh, well, game 2 was on the same time as the LSU game.
Game 1 was.
Game 1 was awesome. Awesome. Do y'all think the Yankees make it a series?
Yeah, I do. I think they win tonight, honestly.
I think they win tonight too. It's crazy. The beauty, the hard thing about playoff baseball, and people talk about it all the time, it's not always the best team. It's always the best team at that time. Aaron Judge was the best player in baseball.
What
him and
happens
Ohtani.
to him?
Best player, and it just happens, dude. He's going through a stretch right now. It just how happens to be in the World Series in the postseason that he hasn't been Aaron Judge yet. And when he does that, this is what happens, right? He's going to come up in big moments. He's going to have opportunities to get guys in. He's not doing it. Now, on the flip side, Stanton has picked up that slack. Stanton has been amazing. Soto, amazing, right? But you need Aaron Judge to be Aaron Judge for you to win.
Yeah, he's going to have to show up. And I honestly think tonight, you're facing Walker Buehler tonight, right? And this is a guy who's coming off of surgery, has had a year this year that is not reminiscent of what he's done his entire career. He's got a 5+ ERA. He has had some struggles in a game where this is probably a big spot in his mind. It 100% is. And maybe he tries to do a little too much. Maybe he tries to play a little too much. Maybe he leaves a couple balls up in a situation in a stadium like Yankee Stadium. That's why I think they win tonight. And this may actually be Judge's breakout spot too, where he kind of gets back on the horse facing a guy like Walker Buehler tonight with all the things that's going on around him.
Yeah.
I got the Yankees tonight.
I got the Yankees too.
Make it a series here, 2-1. Now it gets real interesting.
Rizzo's gonna hit a homer.
Somebody's going to that short porch and right.
Rizzo's gonna hit a homer today.
I feel like there might be a homer to center somewhere too. Maybe in that Yankee bullpen, somewhere in that area.
I hope it's a big one though. I hope it's like end of the game, 7th, 8th, 9th inning.
I mean, you already got one of those.
I don't want it in Yankee Stadium though.
Yeah.
I want it.
I do think it's cool watching Volpe play in this series, though. Knowing that he was, I think they said 9 or 10 years old in 2009,
Which stadium. Is wild. I forget that it was been since 2009 they made the World Series.
No. Not only, so they won that year, obviously.
Right.
They didn't just win, they haven't been back since. Which that's a crazy thing to think. That's a crazy thing to think.
I know.
Yeah, ask Cashman about it. He brings up the Astros every time. He's like, we had one stolen from us. Y'all forget.
Yeah,
history
maybe
will never tell the real
maybe
story.
Maybe so, but you didn't do it.
But still hadn't been there since. So.
And that was 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So
would still only be one time in 15 years.
Right.
So, it's, Right.
We did have one question for Jared Mitchell in the chat.
Hey.
I told my boy C-Dub I would ask. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
What you got, my boy?
With the lack of a run game, does Jared think that if you try some toss sweep or some pin and pull and try to get those guards moving downhill a little bit, would that help at all?
I like that. Love that a lot too. We don't do a lot of outside run. We don't do a lot of zone stuff outside. Finding ways like the new wave in football has been the same side toss out of the shotgun. We haven't run any of that. We haven't done it, and I don't know if they have it implemented. I don't know if that's something they do. But you have to start finding more creative ways than just into the middle of into the teeth right there. Like, it's just not really doing it without RPOs off of it, without the threat of the run of the quarterback off of it. We're just not displacing linemen and moving them like that. So you got to start finding other ways. So yeah, I would love to see if they did stuff like that.
He follows up, or are those runs too complex? So basically, if we can't run like we have, then we for sure can't do those type of runs. Like if you can't do the
I won't even say it's too complex. And here's what I don't really know, because I don't get a chance to watch these guys in practice every day, so I really don't get to see them move. I'm just really seeing game stuff. But maybe you've built a line, an offensive line, that's not necessarily made to be pulling and pinning and doing all that stuff as much. Maybe that's why you're not going out and using all of the screen plays and all this stuff that allow those guys to get in open field situations. Maybe. I don't know. If that is the case, then that may be why they don't do it as much.
Yeah.
So.
And he asked for Joe Burrow. He asked for Garrett Nusmeier's stats in the SEC. 94 of 175, 53%, 7 touchdowns, 6 picks. And I would say he's played better than that.
You've had 2 games in the SEC where he's thrown it 50 times, too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Right.
That don't help you. That doesn't help you.
4 of those 6 came in 2 games. Oh, 5 of those 6 came in 2 games.
And how'd you run it in those games where he threw it 50 times? So that doesn't help it. That doesn't help either.
Yeah.
He's leading the SEC in touchdowns. All those quarterbacks that he's leading, guess what? They had non-conference games too. Mm-hmm. So he's still leading. You got to think of it that way. Like it is what it is.
No doubt. He's gonna keep getting better.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta give him some help.
Cortland Jacob, real quick. There's no way. It's insanely stupid to think LSU get the benefit of votes over teams with similar records, but LSU fans are not rational. They're talking about how many SEC teams get into the playoff, and there's LSU. If you went out, you only have 1 SEC loss, and then you'll have the SEC champ will have at least 2 losses unless it's A&M.
Yeah,
they'll have 1 unless they go the entire.
Yeah.
But that's what they're talking about if LSU, because they're not going to put 5 SEC teams in. Is what he's saying. And it's
but you might not get 4.
I would think 3 would be a
3 is probably
and you're gonna a stretch.
I was going to say you might not get 4 with how the season is going.
Right, and you're going to have, but you're going to have them cannibalizing themselves, right? Like you're going to get these guys. Elimination game next week, right? Georgia, Ole Miss elimination game, right? More so for Ole Miss, but they'll be out, right? LSU, Alabama, one of them, they'll be out.
We just spoke about there's 6 other teams that are still undefeated in the country that are ranked in the top 25 right now.
And those teams,
that alone, I'm not saying that they're not going to lose, but that alone, if they get to the end of the year where let's say 3 or 4 of those still got 1 loss, you're crazy if you think that that's not going to be louder than the 3-loss team in this league. Which is why I think at the beginning of the year and through the year, Nick Saban has been sitting there saying, you have to start factoring in like strength of schedule and what it is to play at LSU on a Saturday night at 6:30 and you lose that game. How does that factor to you going to Hawaii and losing or going to Cal and losing or something? It's different. It just is. So, but that's not. They don't have that implemented yet. So I think that's crazy. It's going to become a
conversation again.
Yeah.
Bring back the BCS.
Texas A&M into the season elimination game. Miami's undefeated. Ohio State's got 1 loss. Ohio State's got to play Penn State this week. Yeah. Either Penn State's going to have a loss or Ohio State will be eliminated, right? Georgia's got a loss. So they're going to have – you're not going to have all these teams undefeated.
Hey, let me ask you this question. Here's a question, and it's just a fair question. You get to the end of the year, and if Ohio State's losses are to Oregon – and to what is right now an undefeated Penn State, and maybe they end the year with 1 loss, and they're sitting there with 2. Who's to say they're not getting in front of a 2-loss and or more SEC squad?
No doubt. They
probably
will.
This to me, this isn't an elimination game.
No, you're right.
Like they're still in it if you ask me. Right. Depending on how this thing goes, like I'm telling you, 100%. It's going to get loud at that.
And Ohio State's got to go. Did I say they have to play Indiana? Yeah, they play Indiana.
All right, but if they're sitting there with 2. They're not out, no doubt, at all.
Well, here's the deal. So they'll sit there at 2, and they won't be in the Big Ten championship game. Someone else, they'll be one of those ones. Someone else.
That's what I'm saying. You'll be in there. And then at that time, you're going to have probably, if they run the table, you'll have the number 1 team in the country who they lost to and another top 3 team in the country if they only got maybe 1 loss at that time. Probably sounds like they got a better resume than anybody else at that time. It doesn't matter what you think of the actual competition and the actual teams. On paper, you're going to sit there and say, well, they lost the higher ranked teams. They lost the better teams. They're going to get in.
Right.
Like that's
You
don't
can't.
be I'm telling y'all, dude, that's
Yeah.
3 is probably because of how this season has played out so far.
3 is a good number.
I thought going into the year it was almost for sure 4 because I didn't see Bama with 2 losses before November. I won't say I didn't see. I saw LSU with around 2 losses. Didn't think it would be the games that it's been. It is what it is. But I thought 4 at that time. I won't be surprised if it's 3 and only 3 that comes out of the SEC.
Maybe so. We'll see. I mean, there's 5 weeks left.
Lot of
chaos to be had.
Oh yeah, and you're about to get those real numbers to come out now, or those votes, because 6 weeks. Because you got to remember, what is it after week 9 or 10 is when they actually start doing the college football playoffs.
It's
right before Bama.
It's right before Bama.
So you got 1 more week, right? You got 1 more week until that noise starts. Right now, it's just the media poll and the coaches poll, which are great, but they don't mean shit until this poll comes out. They're about to start doing that, and this noise is about to get loud as hell.
I mean, shit, even in 2019, LSU wasn't guaranteed the first seed. Like, they were playing with that for a while, where you were the first or second seed. You had to wake up early and go see where you're going to be seed, and you were undefeated.
Right.
Like, they play games with this thing because they know it's all fake anyway. Who cares about any of this? It's just for TV, and nothing matters. We all die one day.
I think before we get to the second, I think it would be crazy. A&M beats Texas into the season. Texas has 2 losses. A&M has 2 losses. No, wait. I messed that up. Texas beats A&M to give A&M 2 losses. And then A&M goes and loses in the SEC championship game. Right? That would be the back-to-back. Never mind. The math doesn't math on that one. Take that back. All right, let's get to the Seggies. Mistake of the day brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place.
I think there's a lot of contenders.
A lot
of contenders that all happened very much publicly, but I think you'd be remiss not to pick the Dwayne Wade statue maker, as I believe I saw a quote on Twitter that said they just don't make Michelangelos like they used to. Like, they don't grow on trees. And so you have these people that are trying to continue to make art that I don't know if they can make art, because this does not look like, one, Dwayne Wade. And the reason I say that is because Dwayne Wade doesn't think it looks like Dwayne Wade. It
looks nothing like Dwayne.
This is up there with the Ronaldo
looks like
statue.
Grandpa Dwayne Wade.
Yeah. Like he Han Solo'd him. He put him in the carbonite.
I just don't understand how this keeps happening. He's like, damn, look.
This is supposed to be a great day for me. His son is like, brother. You proud of that?
his son looked at it and goes.
His son's waiting to say something.
Don't do it. Don't start now. Camera's on me.
Hey, we need to. Hey, look, when we do these things, they need to go like buy a board first and be like, "Hey, is this a good representation of him? Yes, pass it through, do it. Not just, hey, I did this. I'm gonna unveil it to." That can't happen.
We got to start doing doing the face first.
It's not a good one,
because I feel like they did everything else and got to the face. Now you're too far gone. Like, at what point do you think he was looking around going, "Man, I fucked this up"? Yeah. But it's already done. I'm done. I'm finished.
Yeah.
Turn it in. See what I get.
That's a good one. Curtain call brought to you by our friends at Perkins and McKenzie. What you got?
Want me to lead it? I'll lead it.
All right.
I will lead it. I'm going to turn my curtain call to the Northwestern at Iowa football game.
Whoa.
But not the football game. At halftime, Iowa says, hey, we have a sprinter who can really run named Kalen Walker here in school. We're going to let him run the 40 to show everybody once and for all, which I think is actually really cool because no one really understands how different things are when you go from sport to sport when you're actually playing. Like, if I sit here and I watch Odell Beckham take BP and be like, oh, he can hit a homer too. But then you watch Aaron Judge do it and you're like, oh, all right, yeah, that's just a little different.
Yeah.
Or if I see somebody who's got a good arm throw the ball and be like, oh, he was able to throw 85, that's good too. And then you get the guy that throws 100 and be like, yeah, I can't do that. That's different. Watching the guy, the track sprinter, run the 40 on laser time, runs a 4.15. I'm going to repeat that. A 4.15.
Fastest in the NFL Combine ever is a 4.2.
4.21?
4.21?
2.1 or 2.3 or something like that. 2.1.
Yeah.
Maybe I think 2.1 maybe.
How's Iowa get all these white kids who run so fast?
Sprinter.
That's 6/10. Right? Is that 6/10?
Sprinter. So, the old adage, track speed is different, and there is a very good. Bro, he is full speed at step 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is impressive right there.
Getting it.
So, I'm going to go ahead and give my curtain call there.
Kalen Walker.
May
see him in the NFL roster or something like that.
Maybe not. Got to do that, too.
Lloyd?
Curtain call 2.
You want to be with me?
Yeah.
Okay. My curtain call.
I had one. I forgot what it was.
I think this is Jaden Daniels, Hail Mary.
Oh, yeah. Duh. Yeah, that's what it was. And because it was also in the running for mistake of the day. On both sides.
I actually, it could have been a double whammy. Cornerback didn't
need to participate.
Then Uberflus. What's his name?
Uberflus.
What's his name?
Eberflus. Uber is a car service?
Yeah, Uberflus.
I'm going to
call him Uberflus right there. Eberflus comes out and says that is it Tyreek?
Yeah, Tyreek
Stevenson?
Yeah, I believe so.
He said he took he showed responsibility and ownership by coming out and apologizing, which, okay, fine. But we're celebrating. The play was going on for 4.1 seconds before he realized the play was actually going on.
Yeah.
And he was talking shit to the crowd. And then realized, oh, shit, I got to get into this play. Gets into the play and bats the ball up, ends up being a touchdown. Tough. Curtain call for Jaden Daniels because of that. Mistake of the day, number 2, to him. Here he is.
They're running right at you, guys.
And he waved them off.
There we go.
And honestly, he actually did get back. It wasn't him late. It was this last little bit where he, for some reason, was still left. Like, he recognized the play long enough to where he could get in the play, and then for some reason decided to go back left. And I don't know. It was weird. But great ending by Jaden Daniels. My curtain call is to former Saint, former Buck, former Florida State Seminole, Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston finally gets to start again in the NFL, and the Browns, who have been horrendous on offense, haven't done anything, haven't scored any points.
Sidebar. I looked at my wife before the game started. I go, it would be such an NFL thing to where if they go there and they play this game, they ain't been shit, they ain't done shit. Ravens just came off a big win. They've been rolling. I go, interdivision matchup, wouldn't be surprised at all.
Especially with Jameis starting.
And Jameis comes in there, throws for 330 plus, and 3 touchdowns, including the game winner against the Ravens, who were beating everybody. Number 1 team in the NFL for the
bludgeoning everybody.
Probably playing the best of any team in the NFL. And Jameis looked like Jameis. He throws some passes that were kind of borderline. Almost ended the game with an interception. Kyle Hamilton watches the video and is like, damn, how did I not catch that? And very next play, throws a seed for a touchdown, ends the game. Basically wins the game for him. They had to stop him on defense. But that's not all you get with Jameis. You get the interviews. Jameis was preaching before the game.
And the pregame speeches.
And after the game. And the pregame speeches in the tunnel. And then you get the postgame interviews after. So when Jameis is good, it's good for everybody because it's the most entertaining, genuine, awesome person you've ever met in your time. There's not another person out there like Jameis Winston. And people used to hate Jameis Winston because of all the shit that happened in Florida State. Everybody loves him now because he's the best. And I'm very happy. It's just better for the NFL when Jameis is playing football. Jameis isn't even 30.
And with those opportunities, we have to make the most of it. Every one of us have an individual responsibility to go out there and fight for each other. Represent the names on your back, represents the names that's on your helmet. Well, we don't got no big helmet. So represent the names. All right, one play at a time. All right, together. All right, here we go.
Great. That's my curtain call.
You can't even fake it, dude. Like,
no
shit, we ain't got no decal.
And that makes everybody loves him, dude. Number
Authentic.
1 guy in the clubhouse, glue guy.
I also have the radio call of the Jaden Daniels throw, which I want to hear because I heard it's electric.
Okay.
But I'm not going to play the video.
Daniels backing up. He's just going to have to let one fly. Goes to the right side. Steps away from the defenders. Gives himself some time. Now steps up, fires. Heads towards the end zone. It is
They haven't been good forever. It's such genuine joy.
Another thing you do.
Yeah. Nobody's ever lost a football game before. That's brutal. With like 121 and 1.
They gave up less than 250 yards of offense, no turnovers, and they scored 20 points.
No team in the history of the NFL has ever lost a game like that.
Ever. Until then. There's always that one team. All right. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you don't like watching us and you like listening to us or anywhere you get your pods, we will be live again on Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. Ask Mikey and Mitch. We will promote it ahead of time, I promise. You get us on normal hours this week.
That's right.
You get us on Monday, you get us on Wednesday, and you get us on Friday. Tail us. We're getting hot again. We're going to keep winning us money. If you don't like money, it's fine. You can just watch us and from the sidelines, but
don't look away now.
We're going to be winning. We're getting hot. All right. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Enjoy the Game 3 of the World Series. Enjoy Monday Night Football. We'll be back on Wednesday. We love y'all.
Peace.
Peace.